So in ninth grade, my buddy Bill Lease actually had me come to his test group or play group. It was just a multiplayer. The biggest crawworm won the match, and I had no idea what I was doing, but neither did they, and it was just a blast. Like, the first time I grabbed 7 cards and waited for my turn, I was actively watching what everyone else did, and I was just playing some stupid green deck that just tried to play the biggest monster ever and died. After the first session, I went to GameStop, bought as many cards as they had, but all they had was like a couple booster packs and Worlds decks, which aren't even legal, but that's all I knew about Magic, so I just bought them. And from that point on, I can't remember a time in my life where I didn't play Magic. So since then, I have no idea how many games of Magic I've actually played. But the one thing I remember from back then was how the first couple games were just intoxicating. How I just slipped into this reality that I didn't even know existed, and everything slipped away. My homework, my home life, my work, my other video games. Like, I forgot all about them as I watched people tap mana and cast big monsters. There's been years of my life where, I didn't get good grades because I was too busy looking at deck lists on the internet or playing Magic online. And then there were years where I decided I had to give it up or something. I mean, I have no idea what my life would look like if I didn't become a professional Magic player. Little Bradley definitely did not think he was going to make it out of North Dakota. He thought he was going to get a house right beside his mother's with a white picket fence and a wife and a couple kids, probably be a civil engineer. So that would probably blow his mind to realize he was going to be a professional Magic player and get to see the world, to be in Honolulu so many times that you don't even go to the ocean anymore, just because you're sick of it. I guess the lowest point of my career was the end of 2011 when I didn't put up a single top 8 after the season previous where I top 8'd 5 events in a row. My writing went downhill significantly, just everything about Magic was falling apart. And I really thought that my career was over. I thought I was never going to come back from this moment, and I thought that professional Magic was 1 year and I was a one-hit wonder. So when coverage initially started saying my name back in 2009, 2010, it felt great. It felt like finally I'm reaping all the rewards from all the work I put into Magic. And then in 2011, when I wasn't the storyline anymore, I just got kicked to the curb and it felt horrible. And I realized that my mentality towards Magic was based on what other people thought of me. I felt like I was hollow. When you have thousands of people you've never heard of screaming and chanting your name 1 minute, and then the next minute they're laughing at you because you are half the man you were, if worse, you feel slighted. You feel like it's unfair, like that people put you on a pedestal just to knock you off of it. It was Charleston 2012. It was a Grand Prix. I brought a really unique deck. I was all over coverage. I ended up losing back-to-back win-and-ends to not top 8. Then I was fighting for every qualification. I was fighting for every chance at gold, just stability on the Pro Tour that I haven't had for 2 years. And so losing those 2 matches, I immediately walked out of the venue, went to the opposite side of the convention center where no one was, and I just immediately sat down on the steps and called my dad and just needed his support. He's been there for me when Matignon tied me at Worlds, and then this point where all I needed was talk to my dad, because I just felt like this was like one of my last chances to qualify for Pro Tour, and I do believe that I actually missed the next Pro Tour, and I think that was the one Pro Tour I've missed since I started playing professional Magic. And I was just hanging on by a thread for years, and this was the point where I thought it was all over. The turning point for me was moving to Roanoke and getting to travel to Magic events with Jerry Thompson and Todd Anderson. I mean, right when I started playing Magic on the PTQ level, I used to drive with friends to tournaments in the Midwest, but that was gone once I was on the Grand Prix and Pro Tour circuits. So once I got them back and I got to go to a bunch of opens and play Magic and talk Magic with people on a daily basis, I was able to figure out the things that I was thinking the wrong way and actually, have someone to actually help direct me the correct ways. Because when you get tunnel vision and you have no way to get you out of it, there's no coming back. I had no perspective in Magic until I moved to Roanoke. The competition in the Players' Champs last year was fierce. For the first time in a long time, I was nervous at a Magic tournament, and I wanted to win, but I wasn't focused, and I spent so many days being prepared for this tournament, for this moment. You knew every match, every moment, and it was just an unbelievable experience. At the beginning of the tournament, you could say there's 16 people and only one can win. But I knew that it could be me. And therefore, I had to put every single ounce of fight left in me after the 2-month grind to finish that tournament on top. And I don't know if I've ever put 2 days of work in as hard as I did for the Players' Champs, because if I wasn't playing, I was strategizing. I was doing sideboard notes. I was looking at decks. I was talking to Jerry about how I think everyone's going to sideboard against me. It was the most work I've ever put into a Magic tournament. The coolest memory I have from last year's Players' Championships was finding out that so many of my family members back in North Dakota were watching, many of which never watched me before this moment. But it was so intense, with so much money on the line, that I had cousins and second cousins and grandparents and brothers and sisters of grandparents messaging me and rooting me on and texting me and Facebook messaging me all of the support, and I didn't even know that they knew I played Magic, or they thought that this was still just like a nerdy game I played on a kitchen table. And it was so cool to know that I had 40, 50 family members watching this match of Magic. So after the Players' Championship was all said and done, and we're all over at Todd's house celebrating, Tom Ross came up to me and he just said, "You wanted it more." And at the time, I didn't really know what that meant, but as I let it sit in, it just meant that what he said, I wanted that tournament more than anyone else. And I do believe in drive. I believe that you can create a future, you can change reality with the drive you have. And a lot of people don't believe in the want it more mentality, but there's so many moments in Magic's history that I can look back on and see that. Honestly, this year I'm going to put the biggest fight I've got in me to win that tournament, but I would not mind a change in the guards from someone that wants it more than me. And I know that player is going to be in this room, and I don't mind them ripping it from me because that's Magic.